After a night's soak, the acid and sugars in the buttermilk have actually invaded the chicken meat, which is going to give it a nice tangy flavor. Now the buttermilk itself has formed a kind of thick batter. That's what viscosity buys you. You can't pull that off with regular milk. This is a poultry shake, and everybody ought to have one. My shake is 2 tablespoons each, kosher salt and Hungarian paprika, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon cayenne pepper. I dispense said shake with a $1.50 pizzeria shaker. By the way, to keep this fresh in between shakings, piece of wax paper under the cap does the job. Just don't forget to take it out before you shake. Now, liberal seasoning is advised. Not only are you seasoning the meat, but the crust that will soon be forming on top. So, go for the gusto. Now, a quick dredge and all-purpose flour. Now, you could augment this with anything from cornmeal to corn flakes, but this is tradition for a reason. It's good. Now, a lot of cooks would season this flour, but I don't like to do that. I've got 2 good reasons. 1, you waste a lot of seasonings, and 2, spices like paprika burn. By stashing them under the crust, they'll be protected. Now, this may be the most important point. You want to get as much of the extra dredge off as possible. Any excess will fall off in the pan and burn. That's not good eats. A lot of recipes, including this one, recommend a post-dredge rest period to let the coating set. But I don't give it more than a couple of minutes because set is exactly what this cousin of library paste will do. I can see by the little wisps of smoke starting to form on the surface of the shortening, this is ready to go. And indeed, the thermometer confirms temperature of 352 degrees. Now, remember, it's got a low smoke point, and at about 360, it's going to start smoking heavily. And that means that it's chemically breaking down, and that's going to smell bad, and it's going to taste bad. So we got to get this stuff in the pan. But we can't just chuck it in willy-nilly. I mean, cast iron is a righteous conductor, but there's still going to be a hot spot right here, right in the center, near where the burner is. But we can take advantage of this. Here's how. Take the faster cooking pieces, the breasts, we're going to put them skin side down at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, away from the hottest part of the pan. Now the drumsticks take a long time to cook, but they're small, so we'll put them at 7 o'clock and 5 o'clock. That's going to leave the hottest part right here in the center available for the longest cooking pieces, the thighs. Put them down right in the middle so they're not touching anything. You want to cook this until it's golden brown and delicious on side A, and you see a lot of moisture pushing up on side B. It's going to take about 12 minutes depending on the size of the pieces. 12 minutes is up and all looks well. First, we have telltale little pools of moisture here. And some of that's probably accumulated steam, but most of it pushed up from inside the meat. Then, of course, we've got the golden brown crust with the nice little dark areas. That's from sitting on the bottom of the pan. That stuff tastes good. So roll everything right where it is. Now, since we're about to introduce a whole new cold surface to the oil, we're going to get a little bit of a temperature drop. So before we leave, we're going to turn the heat up again to medium-high, just for a few minutes to help compensate. But remember, the pan's holding on to a huge amount of heat, so it's going to do most of the work for you. Check in a couple of minutes. By the way, this little baby here is the best $15 you will ever spend, unless cleaning every horizontal surface in the kitchen sounds fun. Doesn't to me. Well, another 12 minutes of rush by here in TV land, and if we've controlled our fat temperature properly, side B should be just a little bit darker than side A. That's because there's more stuff floating around in the shortening on the second pass. Most importantly, the inside should be done. Only one way to know for sure. 183, fine. I usually don't advocate taking dark meat beyond 175 or light meat beyond 165, but I find that another 10 degrees makes a big difference in how the crust adheres to the meat post-pan. And since fried chicken must
fry some more.
Yes, must be eaten with the fingers, slightly firmer meat will be a plus. Now, let's review, shall we? For perfect pan-fried chicken, start with a broiler fryer. Cut it up yourself, soak it overnight in low-fat buttermilk. Then drain it, season it liberally with a shake of your own design. Then dredge it in all-purpose flour and fry it in a cast iron skillet containing a mere 1/3 of an inch of shortening, maintained in an average temperature of 325 degrees. Turn it one time and one time only, then drain it and eat it. I might add that there is no bad time for fried chicken.